InHome TV, we're at Jetner Motors here in Alexandria, and we're going to give the people of Alexandria and the state of Minnesota some insight on an electric vehicle as well as a hybrid F-150, the most popular vehicle in America. Morgan, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about the establishment here, and then tell us what you're going to show us on this fully electric Ford here that looks beautiful.
Good morning, Alexandria. My name is Morgan Hauer and I'm a sales consultant here at Jetner Motors. What I have here for us today is the all-new Ford Mach-E all-electric. Now, this vehicle right here is actually on and running currently. It's completely silent. The only noise that you may even hear a little bit is just the fan from the climate system operating. Now, the all-electric vehicles have become more and more popular within recent years, and there has been more and more releases from various manufacturers for all-electric vehicles now on the road. The Ford Mustang Mach-E that we have right here was one of the earlier all-electric vehicles that came out and is currently one of the highest rated out on the road. Now, I'm going to do a little tour around the vehicle here for you, and I'm going to start out with the unique door handles that they do on these electric vehicles.
Okay.
There's no physical handle to pull, rather just a button which releases our front door.
Neat.
And you'll see a similar story back there with the rear doors too.
I had no idea they did that.
Kind of an interesting thing that's a little bit different from what you see on the day-to-day basis. Now, when you look inside of the vehicle, you're going to see every bit of comfort and convenience that you're going to find on any other vehicle available out on the road. You'll see leather seats. This particular vehicle too does have the 15-inch touchscreen, one of the biggest in the industry. And from there you can check everything on the vehicle from range, your charging status when you do have it plugged in, and you can even put in things like your destination of where you're going to, and it'll even give you recommendations along the way of where you should stop and charge at in order to have a seamless experience on your trip. Now I'm going to hop inside of the vehicle here.
Sounds great.
And just show nice comfortable seating in here for the two occupants up front, of course seating for three in the back. Really a very similar and comfortable feeling that you're going to find in a lot of SUVs out there on the road today. Now again, this vehicle's on. I'd be able to just put it in gear and go at this point, which is really kind of a neat aspect of the electric vehicles, that you don't have your gas motor running when we're inside here. We can sit with it on all day and we're just fine.
It certainly is. And people, Morgan, are probably wondering, is this a front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive? Can you touch on that quickly?
Terrific question. These are available in rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. This particular model we're in today is an all-wheel drive Mach-E, as are typically all of them that we carry on the lot here, being where we're located in Minnesota. Most people tend to want the model they can drive here all year round. Now, we have sold many of these Mach-Es through our dealership and have had absolutely stellar reviews from the public that have already been able to take ownership and possession of these. And really, you know, you hear so much today about range anxiety. That's kind of one of the biggest things right now that the EV market has some struggles with. These Mach-Es are rated between 230 up to 310 approximate miles for a full charge, with the extended battery being able to go up to that higher range. Right now I'm sitting at 82% battery and I'm showing an overall range of 219 remaining miles, which I tend to find is ample and in fact works really well for most people for their day-to-day commutes back and forth to home. They can plug in and charge their vehicle right at their house, and typically is going to cost well less than $10 per full charge. And that's even actually on the all-electric F-150 Lightning model, which has a little bigger battery capacity. So when you do compare dollars and cents compared to what you're getting for putting in gas compared to the range of the vehicle, the charging and your overall miles on the electric vehicles is actually very cost efficient once it really gets divided out by the miles of how much you're putting into it. Very easy to charge.
And tell us a little bit about the charging process.
Yep, that's what I want to show you right up next.
Okay, you got it right there. You're way ahead of me.
Right up here, rather than a fuel door in the back, you have this front door right up front. On most electric vehicles, you'll
Okay.
typically find them on the front corner of the driver's side of the vehicle. When you push that open, you'll see a couple things. Number one, the circular charger right here, which is going to be able to be plugged in to most any 110 outlet. There's a charging cord in the back of this, as well as a 240 or a 220 outlet for a quicker charge.
Okay.
Now, there's also another charging feature on here too. When you flip down the bottom panel there, you show a larger overall charger, and that's going to be used for DC fast charging. There's one DC fast charger right here in Alexandria currently, and we here at Jetner Motors will be very soon having a full open to the public charging bank installed that will be available here for public use as well. Now you'll also see this little circle indicator right next to the charger. When you are plugged in and charging, this will show 20% increments of where your charge is sitting.
Wonderful.
It'll also display on the dash of the vehicle so you know right where your charge is at. And Ford also provides a complimentary cell phone app where you can monitor your charging, see how long it's going to take to charge, see how many miles you have, and also through the navigation features on both the Mach-E and on your cell phone, you can plan out your trip of where you're going and be able to set your stops along the way to plan your trip all the way through beforehand so there's no surprises for charging down the road. Now, go ahead.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second. People, I'm sure, are wondering, is this vehicle ready now? They're going to more of a universal charging point, and I think it's through, I'm blank on that car company's name.
Tesla.
Tesla.
Yes.
And so is this ready to go down to the Target in Alexandria and plug in there as well?
Fantastic question. So right now, there's two different charging systems here in America.
Okay.
There's one charging system, it's a little different plug, developed by Tesla that you see many Tesla chargers throughout the country currently. The secondary form of charger, like you'll see on the Mach-E and almost every other electric vehicle on the road except for Tesla, are all universal to one another. Now, between Tesla and the other Audi manufacturers, they have an agreement reached where they are going to have adapter plugs available now for both types of vehicles, the Tesla charger and the universal, so they'll be able to be used at any charging facility across the country, which is essentially going to double charging facilities overnight for every EV owner.
Sounds great.
It's going to be fantastic, and it's really going to help loosen everything up, and the manufacturers decided why not really help out the public, double the amount of infrastructure rather than competing against one another, make the chargers universal so everyone can use them. And you'll see those adapter plugs. I believe there are some available online right now that you can get to go between Tesla to universal and back, but they will have like a genuine Ford part available for that adapter within the near coming months here.
One of the reasons that this is perfect timing, we're doing this the 27th, I believe, of September 2023. There was just an item on Twin City News how XL is offering a system to put in the garage of your house, excuse me, garage of your house, and they talked about it. We are lucky enough to have ALP, a city-owned electric company. Have you talked to them at all? Do they have anything that way, or I need to go down and talk to them?
Well, it would probably be good to chat with them in regards to it as well, but I have heard from multiple EV owners, customers of myself,
okay,
in regards to some of the programs that are available for EV charging, not only for the electricity of itself, but also the installation of the charger in your home. What I have heard from multiple owners is that there are rebates available to have your in-home charger installed,
okay,
and through ALP, a reimbursement program of the cost of the components. Now, the exact specificities I would want to get myself. I don't know the exact dollar figures, but I know there are a lot of programs out there to help the public with installation of chargers for electric vehicles in their garage at home.
I know the Goodwill store has a charging point, and I was lucky enough to be here a year or two ago when the ALP gentleman was at some meeting. It was just a small group of people, but our ALP had put in the Tesla one right there in Target, just on exit 103, And at the same time, I'm putting you in a spot without, do you happen to know that Pilot there and Exit 100, do they have any charging points there yet?
You know, to my knowledge, no. Prior to the remodel work that was going down on that end of town, I would have to check in again to see, but it would be an excellent location for more charging.
That'll be my responsibility, and I should have given you a little heads up on that. But then at the same time, before we go to the next vehicle, the F-150 here, and I'll take my camera off the tripod and we'll kind of walk around. I'll want to have you show me the front.
Yep.
And we'll give me a little heads up. Is that considered the trunk now if you're going to carry baggage?
Absolutely. So actually Ford themselves coined a technical term for the front end of the vehicle on these, which they refer to as the frunk, the front trunk.
The frunk.
And the reason they don't want to completely call it the trunk, because you still have ample amount of cargo room in the back behind the rear seats, but everything under our hood right here is also going to be additional interior storage room that's built right into the vehicle. So that's a pretty cool thing that's a little different on these. Really get a lot more storage space throughout the vehicle. The actual electric battery itself that powers and drives the vehicle is built into the subframe.
Okay.
Down below on these, which helps keep the overall weight of the vehicle very low to the ground.
Wonderful.
It reduce any kind of rolling, any kind of tipping feeling that you would get in some SUVs. These handle absolutely terrific on our Minnesota winter roads. With the all-wheel drive, the low center of gravity, they really hold the ice and snow very well and are a practical winter application for an SUV all-wheel drive vehicle as well.
Do you have anything else you want to mention?
You know, I think that's a pretty good overview here of the Mach-E in general. And at this point, if we can do a little walk around of the vehicle, show you a couple of the interior features in there, show you some of the cargo systems that are available on here too. One secondary piece I would want to throw in too, along with the EVs, that's not necessarily tied 100% to electric vehicles, but is certainly available on them, is the new self-driving capabilities of the cars as well too.
Really? This one probably doesn't have it, but it will be available?
This one here does not have it. It is currently available on other trim levels of Mach-E. Myself, I've sold a few of them here now that have the hands-free driving system. It's referred to as Blue Cruise.
Okay.
And I've also tested out myself out on I-94 just outside of town here. Absolutely seamless hands-free driving experience. You simply set your cruise control and turn on the Blue Cruise, as they refer to it. And as long as you keep your eyes on the road, there's sensors in the vehicle to make sure you're still cognizant of what's going on. You can't take a nap.
Okay.
You can't read a book.
Wonderful.
But as long as eyes are still on the road, you can sit, hands at your side, eyes on the road, and there's even really nice features on here too, like changing lanes. Simply turn on the blinker of the vehicle. It senses all the way around the vehicle to make sure it's safe to go into the other lane, and it will move itself over until you move it back into the other lane again with the blinkers.
Neat.
So a lot of really cool new technology coming out, not only with the powertrain, but the convenience.
And
features.
before we started filming, I should have asked, I guess, as this vehicle sits, what kind of price are we looking at? And then if you have any rebate programs
Yep.
through the government. And at the same time, you were kind enough to bring up the self-driving part. Can you give us a little idea of roughly how much more that would cost for this beautiful vehicle?
Absolutely. So the Ford Mustang Mach-E starts out with the entry-level package at $42,995 and goes upwards from there depending upon what other sorts of options and features you want to add.
Understood.
The Blue Cruise self-driving capability on the vehicle is available both as a package or a monthly subscription service if you prefer to purchase it month by month.
Wow.
You can buy a 3-month introductory trial that will come with the vehicle, pardon me, not buy, but comes with it.
Yes.
Or you can upgrade to the 3-year plan that's available on these too, which varies anywhere between about $2,000 to $3,000 depending upon the trim level and the model. Between the Mach-E or the F-150, for example, is also available with Blue Cruise.
And roughly people, I'm sure, Morgan, are thinking, what percentage of the vehicles that you've sold like this have the automatic feature to drive?
Yep. So myself personally here, I've sold upwards of a dozen of these Mach-E's. In fact, I think it'd probably be getting closer to 20 at this point.
Wonderful.
They've been out for a couple years now, and they've really been building steam in popularity. We now have some available here on the lot. To start with, they were a special order process in order to get one.
Come on and look at it, folks. It's a wonderful vehicle.
Absolutely. We've got some here to choose from. I've got this one down here that we're doing the demonstration on today. I have another on the lot and another in the showroom in the main dealership as well, too, that you're more than welcome to come in and sit in, look at, take out for a drive. Try out the differences between a gas vehicle. And really, like I tell everyone out there, this isn't a perfect solution for everybody on the road, but just like any vehicle out there, it has its merits and its appropriate applications where it really does fit for some people very well. And I know several people right offhand that have told me this is their favorite vehicle that they've ever owned. Number one, the cost of ownership. You can get into them just as reasonably as a gas-powered SUV of a similar category. Number two, the lesser expensive electric charging at home. And number three, they're fun to drive. It's all-wheel drive, it handles fantastically, and believe it or not, this is one of the quickest vehicles on the road. The top-end model of this, the GT Performance Package they call it, will actually go 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3.5 seconds.
Wow.
Which is on par with really most sports cars and even supercars out there.
I see so.
So they're fun to drive. It's kind of like driving a roller coaster. When you're in an electric vehicle, it's instantaneous power to the wheels. There's no transmission power loss, there's no revving. As soon as you get on the throttle, you have instantaneous power and you're going with it.
Now, we had the car running. Is it still running?
It's still running. It's
Okay,
still on
just
right
think of
now.
that, folks. We're talking this whole time and the car is actually running. We wouldn't be doing that with an engine one. But at the same time, and do you hear more noise or thrust, I should say, probably when you step it down on a highway, or is it still really, really quiet?
Great question. It's still very, very quiet inside. When you're in there, you can be going, 70 miles an hour down the interstate and be very easy to have a conversation with the folks behind you. Now, what this does actually have, in order to kind of mimic the overall driving experience, there's a setting inside where you can turn on what's called propulsion sound.
Okay.
So you can actually set the tone, the audio of the sound, and it kind of plays over the speakers inside the vehicle to give you a little feeling of the thrust or the throttle, if you will. Or you can set it to whisper mode, in which it stays completely quiet. Now, another thing I would like to bring up in regards to all electric and hybrid vehicles, when you put this vehicle in reverse and you're going backwards, you'll hear a little a chime, a tone that goes up. The reason why electric vehicles do that is if there was someone who is visually impaired near the vehicle, need to be able to hear an audible sound when the vehicle is in reverse. It's a safety feature that you'll find on all electric vehicles as well as hybrids. In case if that hybrid is running in electric mode, that way there's still an audible tone around that vehicle.
My thought is for successful senior citizens like myself that are up in age but you still drive a fair amount, and I see retired businessmen drive around in coupes and those type of things, convertibles, I think they should totally have these.
Absolutely.
And when we look at the fact that we have gas prices just suddenly jumped again, we've got that terrible war in Ukraine, and so from a standpoint, I think everybody should look at this, and if you have more than 2 vehicles and you have a third one, for sure you should have electric vehicle.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic alternative. It's very nice to have an all-gas or a hybrid vehicle for a long cross-country drive, for example, where you don't want any slowdowns for charging. You can certainly do that with all electric vehicles as well too. One of my first customers who took ownership of their Ford Mach-E actually took it on a road trip from Minnesota to Texas and had a seamless charging experience on his way there and on his way back, and said it was one of the most enjoyable road trips that he and his wife had ever been on.
In fact, Morgan, when I would go to Target, I always kind of watch to see people that are there charging or get out of their vehicle and go into the Target store we have at exit 103 here in Alexandria, and I've asked them questions, and I have talked to a number of people that have come from Seattle and they're going to New York or even Maine. And so they say, hey, it's no big deal. For safety, you should get off the road and rest a little bit.
Absolutely.
They had the wife or the girlfriend go into Target, get some things, walk down and get a hamburger at McDonald's, and they're back on the road.
It's perfect. And really, when you look at the grand scheme of things, tends to not really take all that much more time than you normally would for a typical stop, where you normally pump gas, get a bite to eat, go into the convenience store, for example. Really, when you take that all into factor, the electric charging standpoint of it isn't going to take you all that much longer during your road trip. Now, another key factor with these, like I mentioned with that larger plug that's on here, is the DC fast charging, which you will start to see more and more of across the country. Like I mentioned, we have one here in Alexandria currently, and we have a full bank of chargers coming in here at Jetner Motors scheduled this fall. Again, that'll be open for the public to use as well too.
Wonderful. Well, folks, I've got my camera in hand. You can see how nice a vehicle it is. Unfortunately, we're in the morning. I was hoping for a nice sunny day, but we've got clouds, so we have a little reflection on this beautiful shiny paint of this vehicle. And we're going to do a little go around with Morgan here and show you what you would deal with to do the normal functions of driving, right, Morgan?
That's right. What we have here again is the Ford Mustang Mach-E full electric. We're going to do a little walk around the vehicle to show you some highlighted components on the vehicle here. The button to open up the rear hatch is low down here, just right by the license plate. And that's a power lift hatch that you'll see on all the Mach-E models.
Wow.
This shade that comes down right here will cover up all of your cargo and gear in the back and hide it from view of the rear window, as well as provide some sun protection for what you have stored back here.
Hey, that's great.
Now what I have inside of this bag,
Okay.
this comes with the Ford Mustang Mach-E and Ford F-150 all-electric.
Okay.
This is your home charging unit, where you can use this cord and plug to plug in your vehicle up front, where I'll show you in just a little bit, to charge at your home, either outside or at the garage. Or even if you are out on the road, there is also the charging cord and plug in here too, if you need to plug in at any kind of a hotel, for example, where maybe you need to use an adapter.
It used to be to warm a vehicle up that had a tank heater in
Exactly.
it. So we can tap some of those things. I think people find that interesting.
You got it, absolutely. Rather than using it like an engine block heater like
Yes,
that to warm
yes.
your block in the winter months, pull up to your hotel, put it even on a trickle charge overnight, gain a little bit of charge, or else put it on, of course, one of the faster chargers, a 220, a 240, or a DC fast charger for quicker charging as well. Now when I take the charging bag out of here, there is additional storage right down below.
Oh, wow.
And this is where we can keep our storage bag down there for the charging cord. And they also include with a portable air compressor, just in case if you ever did have a flat tire along the way. Now, all of these new electric vehicles do come also with full comprehensive warranty. That's going to include your 3-year, 36,000 mile bumper-to-bumper warranty for every component on the vehicle. You'll also get a 5-year, 60,000 mile powertrain and roadside assistance warranty. So if you ever had any issues along the road, you are covered for the first 5 years and 60,000 miles. And all electric and hybrid vehicles also carry an 8-year, 100,000 mile warranty on all electric and battery components. So you have a little extra peace of mind. Even though they are a very new product, have tested out extremely well. I've had fantastic reviews from everyone that has gotten one here from us. But it's nice to have a little extra peace of mind on a new product, just so you have that certainty of no worries going down the road.
That's for sure.
Have you come right along up on this side? This is the rear seat of the Mustang Mach-E. Plenty of room again for 3 in the back.
Wow, there is.
Nice size SUV, no shortage of space back there.
I like that. There, you got your own heat and air conditioning.
Room controls back there to keep
Right in the
everything
middle
comfortable.
besides. Wow. Because I remember how the old Mustangs were, that when guys would get their some girls in the back or whatever, It was tight in the olden days in 1968.
We've got a little more room than in 68.
Exactly, exactly.
Taking a look inside of the Mustang Mach-E here, I'm just going to clear out some of those messages on the screen.
Okay.
You'll see the driver information screen here, again showing an 82% charge and 218 miles until empty. In the giant center screen there, right now I have the navigation page pulled up on there.
Wow, that's big.
It's huge. One of the biggest in the industry right now. Very, very easy to use, very straightforward, and you can do everything on it either by pushing a button or by using voice control to simply tell it what you want it to do.
And it's even got cup holders.
It does. It has cup holders down there as well as a wireless charging pad for your cell phone right ahead. So you can charge your cell phone up in here too on the go without even having to plug it in.
And I don't know if I can show the folks, if I'm getting it, that even instead of a shift lever, you just got a dial to turn for park, reverse, neutral, and drive. And then there's a L in the middle or something as well. Explain that to our folks that are listening here.
The L in the middle is just simply able to turn on low gear setting.
Oh, okay.
So in case if it was ever a winter situation, maybe if you were stuck on some really bad ice or some snow, you can put it into low gear to get the most possible torque to those wheels to get you out of a sticky situation.
Wonderful. And as far as the steering wheel, that would just be standard, your blinker, cruise control, and all those type of things?
All of your standard features that you'd find on a normal internal combustion vehicle, you'd see on the steering wheel.
And there's a nice little pocket there right here, and then your windows and mirror adjustments.
And a little different style door handle there. You'd see just simply a pull back on there.
If I can grab that. Oh, not.
To release the door from the inside.
Excellent. And I'll just try to move slow enough to give you an idea. Definitely 4 people could go out for dinner any night and have a great time in this vehicle.
Close up this front door here and just give you another quick show on the charging port here on the vehicle. Rather than a spot to fill for gas in the rear, they have a charging port in the front. One push will open it up. Your standard charger right up top here. If you flip down this panel, it gives you the larger plug to use a DC fast charger. Again, these little increments here on the circle indicate a 20% charge. Right now, we're all the way up to 82%, so we're in the 5th tier there of charge.
Well, that's sure easy to use.
Makes it real easy to use, so you can give it a quick glance and see about where your charge is sitting at, again, either right here or right on the dash in front of you.
I like the wheels on this vehicle.
Beautiful wheels. Yeah, really nice two-tone. It goes real nice with the black paint on here. And now, kind of a cool highlighted feature on electric vehicles that you hear so much about. See a beautiful Mustang right up there.
That's what I wanted to get.
Front camera on here as well, too. Now, right under here, there's no motor. We're just looking at a nice, big, open storage facility right up front. Nice and deep. And in fact, there's even little drain holes down on the bottom of these, just in case if you ever did have any moisture in there, or if you decided to use it as a cooler for the weekend and fill her full of ice, it'll drain right through to the bottom. Now, you're not going to see any kind of belts, any kind of pumps, nothing like that. There's only one spigot right under here, and that's to fill your windshield wiper fluid.
That's what I was going to ask. You're ahead of me, Morgan.
That's all we got there, and in fact, that brings into an interesting point of these electric vehicles. Not only is there a lot of cost savings in regards to the electric charge versus using gas, but there's also a lot of savings when it comes to servicing of these vehicles. You never need to do an oil change. Brakes tend to last far longer because these use regenerative braking to recharge the battery.
Okay.
So rather than burning off the brakes as heat, it uses that heat and friction to put it back into the battery to gain electric charge as you drive and use your brakes.
Wonderful.
Now, additionally, the servicing of these vehicles is very simplistic. What Ford recommends for the servicing of a new Ford Mustang Mach-E is visit your dealership every 10,000 miles so we can rotate your tires and fill your windshield wiper fluid. Other than that, you're looking at a 100% maintenance-free vehicle until you need to buy things like tires or brakes, for example.
Certainly. Let's go slide down the side here. You can close that, Morgan, and then I'll just so we get a little different light angle.
You bet.
We'll open the doors on this side.
Perfect.
And if you have anything else on this lovely vehicle, let's open this door right here.
Again, nice and easy to open these. No physical handle, just a push of the button. Releases the door. One pull, and you're open, up and running.
That's easy. Let me just
take a
duck
look
in
in.
again in case the light wasn't quite as good as I had hoped, or I was shaking too much. But you can see, folks, you could easily have 4 people go out for dinner in this vehicle.
Yep.
And they'd say, man, this is a nice night out.
And be able to carry on a conversation with the folks in the back because of the silent operation.
Exactly.
Of this
That's why I
vehicle.
said, especially old senior citizens like me, we could actually hear somebody in the vehicle.
Perfect. We'll hear everything.
Exactly. Pop the other one.
Front door here, again, push the button, and there's a little handle to grab onto on the front.
Hey, I think I could even do that.
I think so. It works pretty seamless. You'll see a nice little Mustang emblem down underneath the door there. A lot of nice little
wonderful.
accented features.
You know, for a lot, the symbol Mustang is kind of a religious symbol almost.
It is.
And they've had wonderful vehicles and the fun vehicles, as they say. Now, this one will give people both a fun vehicle as well as a very practical vehicle. I'll try to get in. We unfortunately got a little reflection, but it'll give folks a little idea of how big this screen is, if I'm not shaking too bad. And then, if you don't have anything else to say, we'll probably take a look at the F-150 next to us here.
That sounds perfect.
Okay.